Hi guys, I am Shantastic Shine and I am here today to talk about connecting with spirit. I'm honored that you've decided to join me for this webinar and I hope to serve you to the best of my abilities. I'm also grateful that Project Bring Me to Life has given me time to connect with each of you, and I ask that if you haven't already, please subscribe to our website or our YouTube channel, which is projectbringmetolife.com or just Project Bring Me to Life on YouTube. You'll get updates on our future webinars, events, and more, which is awesome. Also, you may support these webinars with a $10 donation if you feel so compelled, which would be greatly appreciated as it takes a lot of time to bring you these webinars and podcasts and just events and weekly content as much as we try. So we greatly appreciate the support and we're honored to be here to inform you and teach you and serve you in any way that we can. So I'm going to go ahead and move on and let's talk about connecting with spirit. First, I really want to explain that connecting with spirit, you have to have faith. You must have faith in something. Without faith, you will not feel the divine connection, and it's deep within yourself, and it will be there, but you will not feel connected without allowing the connection to really grow. So you have to have faith that there is something out there. When connecting with spirit, it is also important to be open to even the impossible. The paranormal and the surprising or synchronistic events, because spirit and spirit guides and the universe, they contact us in weird and unique ways. So every person is going to be different and every message may come in a different way, and you may be someone who is more clairaudient where you hear the messages, or someone who's more clairsentient where you feel the messages. And then there's clairvoyant, which is the most common, where you just kind of see a vision and then you take that as a message from spirit and it kind of helps you throughout your daily life. So, like I said, every person's going to be different as well, and each person does have a different connection. So many of us are very conditioned as well to not allow ourselves to acknowledge these messages that the divine is trying to give us to help us with our path. So when you allow yourself to tap into the spirit, you're then available to receive messages from the divine, which is awesome. It can help you a lot. And those that have left this reality can also send you messages from the other side, and your own spirit guides and more have a way to communicate with you. So allow yourself to open up, and I'm assuming that if you're taking time to listen to this webinar, you have faith in something. So that is your first step, and good job. Also, when opening yourself to spirit, it is important for growth purposes that you allow energy into your world by permission. By giving permission to spirit to channel through you or to you, you can also bring a sense of healing and growth to yourself, because you realize that you're not alone in this mission. Each person's experience here in reality is different, but know that you're not alone, and each person has a spiritual counsel or a divine creator that is here to protect you and to help serve you in this world. The spirit can just help lift you in dark times and bring you protection in times of need. And as I said, spirit can really work in many different ways. This openness allows you to feel the love and support your guides have to offer. So a common mistake many people make when they're trying to connect with the spirit is expecting a very precise answer. Spirit doesn't give definite answers to your questions. Like if you want it to speak to you, that's not going to happen most of the time. Now you may have this thought inside of your head, and it's almost like that conscious when you see it on cartoons where you have something on this shoulder and something on this shoulder and it's whispering both. Oftentimes you have spirit guiding you and trying to whisper in your ear, but it's not something that everyone around you is going to be able to hear. Since spirit works in those different frequencies and different ways than we do in the physical realm, it's often hard for them to deliver a precise response too, by saying, I need something to happen for me at this time, and this day, in this place. To them, that might be a different time and place in their dimension. So you have to kind of be open to the experience. Spirit will, however, be known to let out a crack of thunder at the perfect time, or to create a vision for somebody just to help them through an event that may be coming to them. They can also surprise you at the perfect time and allow the angels to leave you a feather or to show you a flower that's in your path. So there are many different ways that spirit can connect with you. Now, something else that I really want to touch on, when I say connecting with spirit, it can mean a variety of things. Three major categories, and specifically I would like to touch on today. There's the divine spirit, God, Mother Nature, Source, whatever that main energy is that you connect with, that resonates and created you here. The next one would be those that have passed out of this reality, someone that you have loved that has quote unquote died in this realm. Their spirit still exists in the other side, or the other side. It's really in this dimension, just a less physical form. See, people and spirits, they resonate on frequencies, much like music. Just because a song stops playing, sometimes you can still hear that ringing in your ears of that melody. And that's just like a person's frequency. Just because their physical avatar quits moving doesn't mean that their spirit isn't able to continue to communicate with you. So you have to be open to that and know that there is something happening with that person's frequency so that they can still deliver you messages. Now, sometimes it takes a little while for those that have passed to build up their frequency in a non-physical form to deliver you messages. As a medium, I deal with a lot of different clients and people coming to me and saying, I just lost my mom. What do I do? She's not giving me a message that she's okay. It takes time to connect with the other side, as well for the other side to connect with us. When someone first passes, it's a lot for them to realize that their spirit isn't in this reality anymore in the same way that it was. So much like someone starting a new song, it starts out slow and then it builds up progressively, and then it's just a part of the everyday moment and the melody. So as a person passes and they build their frequency up without their physical avatar, their spirit and their being will live on through others, which is super awesome. And everyone really has this ability. And a lot of people like to say, oh, you have this gift, you can talk to spirit. And yes, it's a gift. I'm grateful for it, but everybody has it. Everybody has a chance. It's just so many of us are conditioned to not acknowledge the messages that we're being given. And it's really a matter of perception. You could be hearing those knocks on the door or those feathers falling in your path, and you don't wish to acknowledge them as messages, but they truly are, because the way that the universe works is we're all connected. Everything is connected, so that everything has a purpose and everything happens for a reason. So then the third one, which I kind of got a little off topic there, sorry. The third aspect is your spiritual guides or your counsel. So let's talk about each of these a little bit more. The divine spirit energy is the divine energy of all that is. It's what makes us us and creates our paths and our personal frequencies. By listening to this webinar, like I said, it's obvious that you've already accepted the fact that we do have a creator of sorts, or even if it's just a source energy, that everything in this universe is somehow related to. To know that such an energy exists is the first step to having everything that you really wish to have in this life. When you take the time to embrace this energy and show it gratitude for your existence here, then you're also taking responsibility for your purpose in this universe. Know that you've created yourself here for a reason, and the universe has this divine path for you, yes, and it is grateful that you're showing it gratitude back. So the divine wants you to connect with it. It wants to connect with everyone. It's part of the reason it created us here. So open yourself to it and allow all the positivity to just flow through you as a conduit. You can connect through prayer and alone time and many other daily activities. You can just talk to the universe and talk to the spirit while you're washing dishes. You don't have to be in this sacred space to talk to them. They're trying to talk to you all day, every day, anytime you want to allow them into your world. The same with your loved ones and those that have passed. You can connect with those that you love after they have left this world, as I just mentioned a few moments ago. I mean, I connect with spirit every day. And though many consider this a gift, again, I believe if you try, you can do it. We're just programmed to ignore it. To me, this seems surreal. Why would you just stop talking to someone because they're not physically there? I mean, how many times do you try to talk to someone that's still alive, even though they're not in your room, and you're able to send them a message? So many people are amused with this form of telepathy and being able to send each other messages when they're not in the same room as each other. This is the same as connecting with spirit and those that have passed. Just because they're not physically in this realm anymore doesn't mean you can't still talk to them. So if you can connect with your angels, your past loved ones, and God through prayer, you can just as easily connect with your loved ones. They're everywhere, and they're a part of everything, just as we all are. And the collective consciousness is here to serve our experience. Those loved ones have held a part of our experience, so their energy lives on forever. To connect with loved ones in spirit, you must again be open to unique experiences. They now travel on a different frequency, and they have a hard time giving you these definite answers. So passionately, you're searching for a definite answer most of the time. And it's important for us to just allow the signs to come as they can. Be open to the experience. Everything happens for a reason. That cardinal in the window outside, that's someone trying to send you a message. And that feather that you found on your walk today, that's an angel saying you're protected. Each of these little signs are things in this world that are messages from spirit. And I talk to spirit every day. I'm trying to deliver this message to you as a conduit. So just allow things to come, and the more you allow it and you acknowledge these synchronicities, the more you'll be able to connect with the spirit in this way. And your loved ones and your guides will also be able to communicate with you, and it'll just create a completely different adventure for you. It's one that's way more fun. You never feel alone. You never have this sense of like loneliness, because you know spirit is there with you and guiding you, and that there's a reason for it. Now, real quick, I'm going to touch on spirit guides. Spirit guides are similar to talking to loved ones, but they're a little different. They also vibrate on a different frequency, and they can sometimes be angels, animals, ascended masters, people, or what I like to call characters from other timelines or experiences. They sometimes can just live in their own timeline and connect with you for guidance and protection in this world as needed, but you can connect with them and call upon them in times of need for companionship as well. Spirit guides that are animals often resonate an energy into your life experience that is more through thought or symbolism. They don't necessarily speak to you like a loved one may, or a avatar may that is coming to you as another spiritual entity. So if you're seeing animals, you can pretty easily look up on Google at this point, anything, but you can look up the animal with spirit representation, and it'll give you a message that will help describe why you keep seeing these animals in your visions or in your daily life. If you're driving home from work every day and you're seeing a pheasant, which I have a spirit pheasant, you may be bringing more magic into your life and embracing your feminine side, because pheasants represent feminine energy, they represent magic, and they represent empowerment. So I kept seeing a pheasant, and I wanted to find out what it was, and my spirit guides were trying to say, hey, you're not listening to our messages, we're going to send you these animals and see if you acknowledge them. And it was a pretty cool experience. So everyone has different animals they resonate with. Remember, each person is different, and it's important to just embrace that individuality. You don't want to receive the same messages as somebody else because you're not somebody else. Now, the next thing I want to touch on is really communicating back and forth with spirit. And that's also something, like I said, everyone's going to do it a different way. Some of us have the ability to open a channel for spirit through us, acting as a conduit for different messages to be delivered into our physical world. Many people have this ability, but they don't acknowledge it or tap into it because they don't feel comfortable allowing something to speak for them or through them, which can be understandable, because if you don't know how to properly protect yourself, you could be opening yourself up to more negative entities than you would like to. So when channeling, you want to make sure your body is physically grounded and you're aware of the energy coming through you and know that it's safe and you will not be harmed. I also recommend, if you're channeling, to have somebody else in the room with you so that if you do not necessarily lose control of your body, but the entity gets so empowered, it will be able to talk with the person in the room, and that person can generally snap you out of it. It's not a scary experience at all once you get used to it. It's actually really fun. I know many people who really enjoy channeling, and it's a very interesting experience. And I've done it a couple of times for card readings and in and out of other webinars and such, so maybe we'll see it this time. But make sure to really put yourself in a protection bubble if you're gonna try channeling. A good way to do this is to just embrace the white light, and I'll teach you this later in the webinar, and just wrap it around you and just embrace the positivity, and negative energy will just kind of bounce off of it because it's easily prevented or transmuted through white light. So that's a good way to protect yourself. Also, when channeling, some people don't remember what they're saying or doing. So that's another good reason to have a person in the room with you so that they can kind of transcribe everything you're saying, or they can record it for you, or ask you questions so that you can get the answer from the spirit or the connection that you were bringing in. And some people are seeing themselves in kind of an astral projection way while they're channeling, and they totally leave their body while something else comes in. So it really varies for different circumstances. I've done it both ways. I've watched other people do it both ways. It's, like I said, very interesting. So yeah, another way that you can connect with spirit better is through prayer. And really just take a moment to be with yourself first and welcome spirit into your world wholeheartedly. It's so important to have some alone time to talk with the energy that surrounds you, because it's making you, it's making your experiences, and it's helping and guiding you along the way. So you are able to connect on a new level by simply acknowledging the presence of spirit. If you are having problems being effective in prayer, or you want some more tips on being effective in prayer, definitely check out Suleiman's webinar that he presented last night. And it's on the Project Bring Me to Life's YouTube channel, as well as the projectbringmetolife.com page. So check on that for being more effective in prayer. And just take a moment to speak to the divine spirit, your loved ones, or even your guides. You're able to connect with them on a whole new level. It's something I also like to remind people is even spirit can't help you very easily without your permission. The angels need your permission, and your guides need permission. Even loved ones need your permission. So be sure to pray for help and guidance, and allow yourself to ask for help. See, when we're created here in this dimension, we're given some free will. A lot of people have been arguing about this topic and saying that we have this pre-divine destiny, which is also likely true, but we still have choices, and we can choose good or bad, or we can choose different paths in a way. We may have the ultimate ending, but you do have experiences in which could change and alter that destiny. Otherwise, it may take from your actions or someone else's to be a completely different series of events that take place just by a little choice that you make. A way that I like to explain this to people, especially younger people, is to think of us each as playing our own RPG video game here on planet Earth. When you're playing a video game, your character does generally have an ultimate destination. There's always that end battle in the programming, or not battle, but this end scene in the programming, which everyone's kind of trying to get for, even though they may do completely different things in the game. Which would be like our pre-divine destiny, since it's already programmed into the game. And however, when you're walking around, you can pursue different mini tasks that divine your character. Keep in mind, I'm referring to games kind of like Fallout and Skyrim, and those different games where you can walk around and talk to the different avatars, and usually there's a good ultimatum and a bad ultimatum, and you can be the good guy to save the world, or the bad guy who blows everything up. That's kind of life, pretty much. Imagine each of those characters as a piece of your ultimate game spirit. Some games even have like a dialogue or a guide that you never really see in the game. It just appears as text and options on the screen. or it's a voice and audio that's kind of narrating your game. That's kind of like spirit narrating your life and trying to help you by giving you these different characters in your world to help you through the next mission. Like I said, so you keep continuing through the game and you're having these choices to make, and all of a sudden the choices lead you into the next step, and the guides can sometimes help you or save you from a certain situation because you've given them permission to be on your team. You can then use them to your advantage to complete missions. Sometimes they're missions that you don't even have to take part of and you just get rewards from it. That's allowing your spirit team to help you. So many games also often have cheat codes. And you can think of these cheat codes as, well, kind of like a prayer. When you take the time to pray to your divine source, your angels, or even your guides, it's like placing a cheat code into the game and saying, hey, I need help with this. I would appreciate this, or I need this in my life right now. Just remember to show gratitude, much like you may let out a thank you when you win the boss battle in your game, or a heck yeah. If you have the time to play the game and get excited about that mission, you can take time in your daily life to thank you and thank the universe for the prayers being answered. So live your game to the fullest extent and show gratitude while you're playing it. So now that I've had my little analogy, I'm going to get back to my main topic of discussion, which are ways to connect with spirit. Some other ways would really be just spoken word or written word. Write letters to spirit. Sometimes I like to write letters and burn them so that I know that they physically leave this realm, and then it's an energy that gets delivered to the spirit realm. Some other ways would be to create altar spaces dedicated to the different spirits. I know people who make altars to their divine creator, their gods, as well as their spirit guides and those that they love. You can make altars for generally anything that you are honoring, and it gives that energy a space to really manifest into your world, so that when you visit that space or that altar, you can feel that energy there and welcomed into your home or your sacred space. So altars are another great way. Church and routine services are another good way to bring spirit into your life, especially the divine spirit. Going to church every Sunday or Wednesday or whatever day that you go to church. Some people even go on Saturdays. It gives you that time dedicated to spirit. Then spirit knows that you're taking time out of your weekly routine to come and embrace them so that they can deliver you messages. You can also talk to spirit through astral projection, which often happens when you're sleeping and you become aware that you're sleeping, and you're able to remove your spirit kind of from your body and travel wherever you need to be to communicate. It's pretty much putting yourself into a different reality of sorts, and it's a totally unique and amusing experience to talk to spirit. If someone is interested in that, I highly suggest them checking into astral projection. I know Suleiman was really interested in astral projection for a while, and he has an astral projection meditation that you could probably check out, and it's a unique experience that I definitely recommend people checking into if they're interested in communicating interdimensionally. But pretty much you can normally communicate with spirit any way that you communicate with people or acknowledge a living being in this realm. If you talk to your animals telepathically, you can talk to spirit the same way. Spirit just may not answer in the way that you would expect it to. It often answers with objects or sounds, and when I ask for my grandmother to show presence in my life, she'll often deliver a bright red rose in my daily passings. It doesn't have to be a real rose. It can be a rose on someone's flag that just stuck out to me very dominantly on my ride home, or it could be a rose on someone's t-shirt. But I know that red rose, after I make that call, is my grandma, because it's her way of saying, yeah, I'm here. Or I wouldn't have noticed it. I would have just went about my day and not noticed that rose at all. Another way is if little happenings and synchronistic events are continuously popping up, spirit is trying to deliver you a message. When you ask the divine for more abundance and stability, then you'll often start seeing change on the ground, even dollar bills. And something so simple as that could have been there before, but you wouldn't have noticed it until you embraced asking the universe for this abundance. And then there it is. And it's spirit delivering the abundance to you in a very unique way. You don't have to win the lottery to receive the rewards. It's really unique and fun once you embrace it. Another way is to connect through crystals. Citrine's one of my favorite crystals to use, as well as amethyst for spirit connecting. And by placing that crystal, labradorite, lapis lazuli is also good, or any of those, if you place them over your third eye chakra, it will assist you in awakening it. And you can activate this center so that you can bring the energy in at a different pace. You may feel this vibrating energy from the crystal on the third eye area, and that's okay. It's just activating it to such a high frequency that you can feel that little tingling tickle spot. So during meditation or prayer or astral travel, you can hold the high vibrational crystals elsewhere if you don't wish to keep them on your third eye. Some people like to keep them in their hands, palms facing up. And just make sure that you choose crystals that you're intuitively drawn to. You may feel subtle vibrations from the crystals even in your hands. It doesn't have to be just in your third eye area. And use them to assist you in connecting. You can even dedicate a certain crystal to a certain connection. I have a piece of malachite that's dedicated to my grandma, and if I need to communicate with her and I can't get the message across, I make sure that I keep that malachite on me, and it helps me communicate more clearly because she knows that that's the crystal that I'm trying to connect with her with, almost like a telephone. So, yep, that's crystals. And let's see, there's a couple other things that I want to touch on here. We've made it halfway through the webinar, so if you're still with me, I'm grateful, because I know sometimes listening to any event for over a half hour or so can kind of get tedious at first, but I hope that I am entertaining you to the fullest. So the next thing I want to touch on is oracle cards, because oracle cards are a way that I really connect with spirit, because I'm a visual person. And I know many visual people are like, I can't hear these messages. I'm not seeing these signs as well as they need to be. So oracle cards are a great way to talk to the spirit. It works with the law of attraction of they're trying to attract this message to you. So by sending you the specific cards that you get in a spread, they're delivering you a message that you need to hear, that they might not be able to get to you otherwise. So I'm actually going to pull a couple of cards here for us and do a little reading to show you what I mean. Awesome. All right. So we've got 3 cards here. The first one is take action. What Spirit is saying now is that you are taking action to embrace it into your world. And that is a very great first step. It's Archangel, which looks like Archangel Michael, riding a unicorn and just flying into the sky, and he is telling you that you are protected, that you're safe, and that this is part of your journey. You've made it through the webinar this far because you were meant to take action further in connecting with the divine spirit, the angels, your guides, your loved ones, spirit energy as a whole, which is awesome. The second card is no need to worry. And what this card is saying is it is okay to take on this adventure. You don't need to worry about negative energies trying to take you over because you're protected. You don't need to worry that the messages won't come through. If you allow them to come through, you're always going to receive them. It's when you decide that it's not happening, I'm not getting the message I want, that you're no longer going to have that connection that you're passionately looking for. Which leads us to our last card. It's saying choose a new direction. It's saying that you've been trying to connect with spirit and that you weren't exactly sure how. You weren't able to embrace the fact maybe that each of these little things were the sign. Some of you may have, not everybody, but it is important for you to choose a new direction and to allow yourself to be open to this communication in many different ways. And just know that the universe is there to try to help you. Each one of these cards has a bright white star in the center of it. And this one actually has a portal. The people are looking into this portal that the stars right above, and they're trying to tell you, they're sending you messages through the portal. Right now we have many different portals open. We have the Lion's Gate that was just open, and the spirit realm has been very active, and messages have been flying through like crazy. Some of us have had so many messages coming through that we've actually had to turn them off. So just being open is a good way to be able to control it, because once you start embracing the messages, you'll be able to control it more of when you want to receive these messages or when you might need to turn them off so that you can step back and be in reality. Sometimes that does happen. Luckily, we all are able to put ourselves in these bubbles of protection. So when I open myself up for spirit connection or medium work, I personally often create an altar for the specific connections I'm welcoming in. I use a variety of crystals and incense, oracle cards, and notes and letters I've written to the spirits, welcoming them into my space. I also usually have a candle to represent fire, a flower to represent earth, a feather for air, and a bit of water to represent all the elements into my space, so that the spirit can use them to deliver messages, because they're part of our world. That's one of the main ways they can communicate. I also then do a little meditation or prayer to welcome spirit into my space. Sometimes I just do this real quick in my brain, and sometimes I take a moment to make like a ritual out of it, which I'd love to do a prayer meditation with you all here at the end of this webinar. But real quick, I am actually going to open this up for discussion and check in the chat room, which I hope all of you have been very active in. So if you have questions, go ahead and post them in the chat room on the Project Bermuda Life page right now, and I will scroll through and see what I can find. And if you're watching this at a later date and you can't get to the Project Bermuda Life chat room, please feel free to leave your questions and concerns in the YouTube comments so that someone from Project Bermuda Life can help you. So give me 1 second here while I check the chat. All right. I do have a question, and it's from Samantha. And it is, what has been your most profound or memorable experience with spirit? And I actually have a lot of them, but I'm going to go ahead and share the one that came to mind first. When I was going through a really rough time a couple years ago, I was just trying to find some alone space to really connect and I call it defrag my messages, because I was receiving so many messages so fast. A lot of them were things I didn't want to hear because I was getting ready to lose someone that I loved very much, and I was slightly in denial, and I needed a message that everything was going to be okay. So I went out into my big field that's near my house, and I had a little candle lit, and it was starting to get dark, and it was close to a full moon, and I was just like, I'm just going to write in my journal until I receive a sign. It doesn't have to be a very prominent sign. It doesn't have to be anything specific, because like I said, you don't want to give the universe a deadline or a specific, this must happen or you're not talking to me kind of thing. I was just like, I feel like I need to receive a sign, and it's probably going to be something physical. I just had this deep in my gut feeling. So I hung outside and I was writing some poems in my journal, and all of a sudden I felt the presence, because oftentimes you'll feel it's like not a tap on the shoulder or like a wing brushing against your shoulder, or just something's there. And I looked around, and at first I didn't see anything. So I thought I was still alone in the field, and that I was just feeling this sense of protection that I so often do, being able to talk to spirit. But I didn't see the sign that I had been looking for just yet. So I kept writing, and as soon as I was done writing the poem down, there was my sign. I looked up, and literally like 3 or 4 feet in front of me, there's this big buck, a big old male deer with these big horns just staring at me. And I'm like, well, there's my sign, because he was not in the field before. I'm just hanging out with my little candle and my book in the dark, and here's this big buck just staring at me. Not only did he stare at me, he then bows down to the ground with his head, and then I'm like, okay, I see you, I acknowledge you, and I'm grateful. And I swear he leans back up and he just stares at me. And it's almost like he was just smiling with his existence. Like I could just feel the overwhelming love. And most deer, if they see a human, they're like, I'm running away, especially in the woods I'm near, because there's a lot of hunters and stuff around here. So deer don't necessarily want to walk up to humans. It was the most majestic creature and one of the most dominant signs that I'd need to receive at that time. And I just knew I was protected. I've debated a couple of times now if that was my spirit guide that sent me that, because she often sends me creatures that really resonate that similar energy, or my grandfather, who is also represented by deer, and it was my grandmother that I was losing at the time, and I felt like it was his way of saying, I've got her. It's going to be all right. I'm on the other side. I'm fully present. I'm really powerful. I've got this deer up in here, and it was magical. I don't even know really what else to say. It was definitely one of my most profound talking to spirit experiences, for sure. So I'm going to check and see if there's any other questions. Thank you for that one, Samantha. Okay. Actually, I got a question from Silo. What is your favorite way to connect with spirit? This one is hard for me because I really like my oracle cards. But I think that just seeing the visions are very much something that I enjoy. I don't know if I'd say it's my favorite, because sometimes I see visions of things I don't necessarily wish to see, but it is more clear to me to see it than to just pull some cards sometimes. It's harder to explain to other people, and it's harder to prove to other people, because it's not something like a sign that I can say, oh, I found this feather, or, oh, did you see that red bird? It's just something that really clicks with my personality. Okay, I got another question. It is, could you explain the process of getting into channel mode, and how do we use the white light? Okay, I'm going to actually explain the white light in just a moment with the prayer that we're going to do, because I'm going to have each person put themselves in a white light. As far as the channel mode, oftentimes you want to be in a quiet space where you're not going to get interrupted. You want to make sure you're safe, and if you're surrounded by people, that it's all people that you trust, people that will be able to translate your message back for you and to just protect you while you are opening this space as a conduit for energy. Often people are sitting down, they take some deep breaths, and they just kind of allow their frequency to fade out while another frequency kind of fades in, after putting themselves in the white light bubble of protection, which, like I said, we're going to each put ourselves in this white light in just a few moments. So let's see here. Do we have any other questions in the chat room? Let's see. I think we are good on the questions. Oh, wait, we have one more. We have Curtis Neesmith Jr., which is the realist idealist, in the chat room. When you first started to connect more with spirit in the spiritual realm, was it somewhat of a scary transition? And if so, let's see, I can't see all of it. If so, did you adjust to letting go and that fear? Okay. Yeah. So I've connected with spirit pretty much my whole life. Real quick, I'll give you a little bit of my backstory so it makes more sense. But when I was 6 years old, I was probably 5 years old, I knew something was going to happen to my family. I just had this vision of my family being kind of super upset, and my mom was no longer there. So as a child, the only way I knew how to explain this to my family was, there's something that's going to happen to my mom. Mommy's going to die. So that was probably the scariest thing you can tell your family as a child, because then they're like, oh my gosh, you're crazy. It was definitely intense. So I had to adjust to being able to explain the things that I was feeling and hearing and seeing through spirit to my family, who at the time was a little less open to it. They didn't have a reason to be as open to the spirituality, because they hadn't had these big life-changing events that started to happen. Within about a year of me delivering that message to my mom and my grandma and everyone else, My mom was pregnant with my brother, and after she had my brother, she started to get really sick, and we lost her. So here I am, almost 7 years old, and I don't have my mom to talk to anymore. But I'm getting all these messages and these downloads from all these people on the other side, as well as spirit and angels that are telling me, hey, it's going to be okay. Everything's going to happen for a reason. So it was really like overwhelming for sure. It was definitely scary, but it was more of not accepting the messages myself that was the hard part. It was explaining the messages to other people, because so many people in this day and age are conditioned to not accepting that you can receive messages. People are like, you talk to dead people? It's like, I talk to your loved ones. Do you really think they're gone? I bet you whisper to them or wish they could answer you every day, and they do. You're just so kind of closed-minded that you don't want to acknowledge that they're trying. You just think they're gone to this dark oblivion, or they're in heaven, which heaven to them is being able to be everywhere and anywhere all at once and communicating with you without having to be in a body or an avatar that could be in pain, that could be in one place at one time. That's not what they're doing. As spirit, they're everywhere. My grandma can be here with me, talking to me, delivering messages to me, and protecting my aunt at work at the same time. And that's a beautiful thing. The way that I was able to adjust to the fear and to acknowledge the messages was I just quit caring what other people thought. I mean, sometimes still I get this gut-wrenching feeling that I'm being judged by trying to explain my messages, but more times than not, I'm helping somebody with them. So the fear has had to disappear, because if I can't deliver the messages, then there's something that's trying to get through that could save somebody's life, and you have to just embrace it and acknowledge that there are messages coming through. There's loved ones that are trying to be there. So I hope that answered your question. I might have ranted a slight little bit, but I was trying to get to the point there, Curtis. Let's see. We do have another question. How can I begin a dialogue with my guides? And that's a great question, Coral. Basically, you just kind of talk to them. They're not necessarily going to answer you back when you say hello. They might just be like this feeling that they're there and they've been welcomed into your world. Meditation and prayer and talking to them is the best way to start a conversation. Just like you would start a conversation with your friend, is you have to give them a question or give them a topic to answer. And we're actually going to walk through a meditation in just a moment where I'm going to give you the chance to create a sacred space for your guides and your angels to visit with you so that you can acknowledge them more. Another part of her question is tips on being able to recognize and trust the messages that I'm receiving from the spiritual realms. Okay, that is a good one. There's a different feeling to a message from spirit than making it up yourself. And for a long time, that was something that I had a hard time with, was, am I making this up? Is this really happening? Is this a message from them, or is it something that I'm just pulling out of my own personal experience or ego? Good ways to know are, is it something that you would say, or is it something that they would say? A lot of times I get these messages from other people and I can tell they're channeling spirit for me. CeeLo does it a lot with my grandma. He'll just say something that I know is completely out of his dialogue or his normal way of saying it, and it's exactly like somebody else would say it, and I'm like, oh, okay, my mom just channeled through him, or my grandma just did, because I know it's a terminology or a way of saying it that he would not. And that probably happens to many of us through our daily lives. We're like, that person wouldn't say that. It's spirit channeling through them for that split second to deliver you a message. You also get this feeling in your stomach that's just like, okay, this is a message from somebody else. This isn't my ego anymore. And a lot of us have a hard time going with our intuition rather than our ego or our heart. And we have to really just detach ourselves from it and say, okay, what would spirit really say? What would the universe want me to do? What is the most positive experience that I can have? And even in your darkest days, spirit wants you to have a positive outcome. Like even when I was losing my mom and I was losing my dad and I was losing my grandma and I was in this dark, depressed place and I didn't want to hear those messages, I knew that they were spirit, because spirit always ended it with, you're going to lose this person, but it's going to be okay. There's a reason for it. So usually when spirit delivers a message, it's got this sense of feeling of there's a reason for it, even if it's a message that you don't want to receive. So you'll just really have to embrace those messages or those little whispers in your ear that you know aren't really from you. Because if they're not coming from you, they've got to be coming from somewhere, and that's spirit delivering that message. Let's see. Is there any more questions? No. So I hope that explanation helped you out, Coral. So if there's no more questions, I'm going to go ahead, and I would greatly be honored if you all join me in a meditation. Usually I let Silman lead my meditations, so this will be a different experience for me, and we're going to go on a journey. So let's get comfortable in a position that you don't mind being in for a few moments, and start taking some deep breaths with me. Take some deep breaths in through your nose, filling your chest and lower abdomen with air, and hold your breath for a few seconds. Even open your mouth just a little bit slightly and place your tongue kind of against the roof of your mouth, just behind your teeth. Exhale the breath, pushing the air against the back of your throat. Do this several times, and it may kind of cause like a Darth Vader or rasping sound. But that's okay. After several of these breaths, you may start to feel a pressure on your forehead or your third eye chakra. This type of breathing helps awaken the third eye so that you may also begin to hear the messages from spirit. And you may receive a slight tingling as it's opening your clairaudience abilities. Let's take 3 more deep breaths together. In and out. In and out. In and out. All right. Dear universe, Mother and Father God, the divine source energy, and the great central sun, angels, loved ones, spirit guides, all of the above, I ask for your help in opening all of our channels so that we can be clear receivers of the divine communication. Please assist us in fully opening our psychic senses of clairvoyance, symbols, visions, and images of our minds, clairaudience, including words, sounds, and music in the mind, and clairsentience, and sensations and feelings in the body. Please do this so that we can all accurately see, hear, and feel the messages from the divine spirit world. I ask that you please amplify the energies of light around each of us, keeping our vibrations high, and help us each clearly tune in and be receptive to these messages. We thank you, and amen. Now please keep your eyes closed if you're still with me in this prayer as we continue the meditation phase. Just for a moment longer, we'll connect with the divine energy, and we have so lovingly called it to us that it really wants us to embrace it and place ourselves in our protection bubble of white light. So imagine only loving energies coming through this force field to you as you take deep breaths, bring down white divine light, and wrap your body in it. Imagine yourself, if you're not, in a kind of crisscrossed position and just wrapping yourself in a bubble. We're going to use this bubble to travel interdimensionally to a sacred spirit space for yourself. Please keep mindful of your breath as we continue. Nice, steady, deep inhales and exhales will help you teleport to this space. Once you have envisioned your white light bubble, imagine the rest of your surroundings turning slightly invisible for just a moment. You're in a completely blank slate, using your bubble, as I said, to travel to a beautiful, majestic, sacred space where you will be allowed to meet with your spirit guides, your divine spirit energy, or even your spirit animals in a more intimate way. In my case, I would be in a garden full of colors and magic. You may be in a castle, at a lake, in the woods, wherever feels right for you to meet with the divine spirit that you're calling so gratefully into your world. Continue breathing as you land into your majestic sacred space. Your white light bubble is now pulling closer to you, creating an almost skin-like feature, just protecting you in this world. Close your eyes in this world one more time as you call in the energies you wish to connect deeper with in this meditation. Feel them move closer to you and bring themselves into your area in this space. And as you accept them into your world, reach both hands up into the air. You can do this physically too, as if you're reaching out to embrace them in the excitement of this new world. Expanding your light bubble of protection to fully take your shape as you are able to explore further into this realm. Slowly opening your eyes so you can see the divine message that you've been delivered from your guides. You may see a person. It can be a figure, an animal, a flower. Whatever you may see, the divine spirit is materializing this into your space as a message for you. Feel the love of this object, this person, or this creation for you to show itself in such a way at this time when you're asking for it to. Take a moment to communicate with it. Does it speak back to you? Does it have words? Or is it sending you thought? Some of you may even be seeing multiple images or visions in this space instead of a specific object, avatar, or flower. It's just an image of things that are just flashing by. Take this message as your divine spirit wishing to connect with you on a more personal level with clairvoyance. Some of you may be more receptive to a clairaudient message. You may be hearing them directly rather than seeing it. Clairvoyance sees things play out for you, where clairsentience is where you feel it. In this world, do you feel a feather brushing against you? Do you feel wind blowing against your face? Or even this special energy that's kind of even too hard to describe, as it's just there embracing you. Know that each person is different as you continue to explore your spirit realm. Maybe more signs appear, characters, feelings. Embrace this in your spirit realm because this is a magical place for you to connect more deeply with your spirit guides and allow them into your life to communicate. Walk around just a bit more, receiving any final messages you may still be downloading from spirit into your personal experience right now. Become more aware of your breathing as we take some breaths together and walk back to the place you originally came into this realm. Take a seat back where you teleported here in your magical light bubble. close your eyes in this spirit world and teleport your experience back into this reality. When you're ready, begin to wiggle your fingers and toes and welcome your new connection to spirit in your life. Know that you don't need to travel into this place every time you wish to connect with spirit, but it is now your sacred space to reach it in a more intimate way whenever you wish. Use the gifts and the messages you've been given today as a way to connect deeper with your spirits and embrace the signs that are being given to you. By practicing these techniques over time and developing a close connection with your spirit guides, you may start to notice physical symptoms in your psychic channels to really fully open. And if you're all now starting to wake up from the meditation, if you want to share your experience in the chat room, go for it. We would love to hear from you. We would love to know how spirit decided to materialize for you in your world. I'm sure there's people in the chat room that would love to share theirs with you as well. And just be open to it. Like I said, everyone's going to be different. Also, after you start practicing this more frequently, you may have, like I said, physical symptoms that really are acknowledging to you that your psychic channels are opening. This may include pressure on the top of your head or your crown, the left side and the third eye area, and even down to like a tingling sensation down your spine or other spaces of your body. And this is just allowing you to embrace it. And you may even get the, like I said, touched or kicked or tickled kind of feeling saying, hey, we're here. We're trying to give you a message. Acknowledge it. And spirit can be very demanding if it wants your attention. It does want you to receive the messages. And sometimes, like I said, people are just conditioned to not acknowledge it. And if it wants to get a message across, it's going to try its best too. So let's see here. I do want to see if anyone wanted to share their experience in the chat room. And Samantha says she had chills during the prayer. Thanks. Thanks for that. I'm glad to have been able to serve such good feelings throughout it. Silman says that he went to a crystal cave with quartz, amethyst, and citrine, and his council gave him a chest. And when he opened it, gifts for Project Bermuda Life came pouring out. So that's pretty awesome. I talked to Spirit a lot about the direction of Project Bermuda Life, and they're just overwhelmingly grateful that we have such a good team that gets along so well and is able to deliver these messages. And I just truly don't know where any of us would be without each other. Our tribe has definitely brought the best out of all of us, and I'm just grateful to have these people with me. So I am grateful that Spirit is giving you a chest full of good tools. Let's see. Samantha was feeling things. She's got that clear sentience going on, and she's not really sure where she was, but she's got some good people there with her, so that's awesome. And Curtis says he felt a vortex of energy, so that's awesome. If you try this meditation out and you don't have a chance to hop in the chat room, like I said, leave us a comment on our YouTube channel. Let us know where you've been taken. We want to talk to you about your experiences. We also have a directory on Project Bermuda Life full of spiritual leaders and teams, all here to offer you their help and support in your journey. So take a moment and check out the Project Bermuda Life website. Share this webinar if it's helped you in any way. And I'd just really like to thank my team, the Project Bermuda Life team, for all their help and support in bringing this webinar to you. And I hope that it's all benefited someone in some way. And if you feel so compelled to do so, we do accept PayPal donations. My PayPal is sjc81591@gmail.com. And there is also a donate button on the Project Bermuda Life page. And just, I hope that you had a great experience. Your donations are greatly appreciated. It's going towards keeping webinars coming and keeping the podcast going, as well as manifesting us a physical school so that we can have a classroom full of bright-eyed, beautiful people that are ready to learn. So thanks for joining me. Don't forget that tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Project Bermuda Life will be hosting another webinar with Ashton Robertson on finding true love. and we would love for you to join us. So stay awake, shine on always. This has been awesome. I'm honored, and good night.